Hello and welcome to Miniature Adventures. I'm Big Lee and today I want to present my essential guide to surviving Salute. Now if you're thinking about heading to Salute 53 for the very first time, or perhaps you last went when it was still back in Olympia and you're wondering what on earth you've let yourself in for, then this video is definitely for you. Today we're going to walk through exactly what to expect from the UK's biggest tabletop wargaming show, from the moment you start planning your journey to navigating the venue to surviving the glorious sensory overload once you're inside. Think of this as your friendly primer, a reassuring voice in your ear saying, yes, it's big, yes, it's busy, but you're going to have a brilliant time. So let's start with how the show itself has evolved, because if your mental image of Salute is still rooted in the Olympia days, you're in for a bit of a surprise, but I think in a good way. Now, over the years, Salute has grown not just in size but in scope and diversity. The modern show is less about any single type of wargame and more of a celebration of the entire hobby. You'll still find historical games, of course, beautifully crafted tables covering everything from ancients to modern conflicts, but these now sit alongside a huge range of fantasy, sci-fi, skirmish systems, indie rule sets and experimental formats. It's no longer just a place to buy figures or watch a game, it's a place to explore ideas, meet creators and see what the hobby might look like in 5 or 10 years time. The demo games are a big part of that evolution. There are now over 90 games at the show and they're not just there to be admired from a distance. Many of them are interactive, inviting you to roll dice, push miniatures and get a feel for new systems. Some are run by clubs who have spent months building jaw-dropping tables, while others are hosted by publishers showcasing their latest releases. And then there are the traders. If you ever thought, I'll just pop in and pick up a pot of paint, Salute will gently laugh at you and empty your wallet anyway. The hall is vast, with a huge selection of retailers ranging from big names to tiny independent sculptors and boutique manufacturers. You'll find miniatures, terrain, rulebooks, tools, paints and all sorts of hobby oddities you didn't know you needed until you saw them. It's also a hotspot for new releases, with plenty of companies timing product launches to coincide with the show. And add in a healthy number of Kickstarter projects being demoed in person, and you've got a genuine sense that this is where new ideas in the hobby get their first real test in front of a live audience. Before we move on, I want to give a quick shout out to the amazing people who make these videos possible, our channel members. If you're enjoying the content, please consider joining the team. Now back to today's topic. Right, so let's talk about the venue, because this is probably the biggest change from the old days. Salute is now held at the XL Exhibition Centre in London, and well, frankly, it's enormous, and it needs to be. Realistically, there are very few venues in the UK that can handle an event of this scale, and XL is one of them. The upside is space, lots of it, wide aisles, room for massive demo tables and the ability to host thousands of attendees without everyone being packed in like sardines. The downside, of course, is cost. It's not a cheap venue, and that inevitably filters down to things like food, parking and the general expenses of the day. But before we get into the brace yourself, your wallet is about to take a hit section, let's take a look at getting there. Now, travel to XL is actually one of the more straightforward parts of the experience, especially if you're coming in via public transport. Docklands Light Railway, yes, the DLR, the one that feels like a theme park ride for transport enthusiasts, drops you off right at the venue. It's simple, efficient and avoids the stress of London traffic jams. If you're coming from further afield, you can link in via mainline trains or the underground and then hop onto the DLR for the final leg. It's about as painless as London travel gets, which is saying something. Now, driving is an option, of course, but this is where things start to get a bit more character building. Parking on site has gone up again and now sits at a whopping £27.50, which is enough to make even the most dedicated hobbyist wince. There are alternative parking options in the surrounding area, but they can be a little bit hit and miss, and you'll often end up walking or taking a short ride to the venue anyway. Now, if you do decide to drive, it's worth planning ahead. Booking where possible, well actually booking is essential, and accepting that convenience comes at a premium. On the plus side, accessibility is something that organisers have clearly put a lot of thought into. Accessible parking is available if you pre-book, which is essential, and there are free mobility scooters provided on a pre-booked basis as well. Now inside the hall there are plenty of tables and chairs scattered throughout the space, giving you somewhere to sit down and rest your legs and perhaps quietly contemplate how you've already spent more money than you intended. It's a small thing, but it does make a difference over the course of a long day. Now speaking of long days, let's address the queue. Yes, there is a queue. There is always a queue. But here's the good news, it's a well managed queue. For several years now the organisers have used a separate unit next door specifically for queuing, which keeps things organised and crucially out of the elements. So by 10 AM there can already be several thousand people waiting to get in, which sounds intimidating, but the system works really well. The line moves, the doors open, and before you know it you're inside, blinking at the sheer scale of the hall and wondering where to go first. Once you're in, you'll quickly realise that pacing yourself is key. This is not a show that you do in an hour, it's an all-day affair, and even then you probably won't see everything. That's where planning comes in handy. Maybe you have a rough idea of which traders you want to visit, which demo games you absolutely don't want to miss, and when you might want to take a break, because you will need breaks. And that brings us neatly to food and drink. Now there are plenty of options available at Excel, both inside the hall and in the surrounding area. You won't go hungry, that's for sure, but this will not shock anyone who has ever set foot in a major London venue. It is expensive. Food and drink prices are firmly in the eye-watering territory. The good news is that you're absolutely allowed to bring your own food, and there's plenty of seating available inside the hall if you want to take a break and enjoy a packed lunch. I always do, it saves a fortune. It's a great way to save money and recharge before you head back out into the fray. Now let's circle back to what really makes Salute special, the sheer variety of things to see and do. Beyond the demo games and traders, you've got the Hobby Heroes panels, which are a fantastic opportunity to sit down and rest your feet and listen to some genuinely interesting discussions. Now these panels often feature well-known figures from the hobby, covering topics ranging from painting techniques to game design to the future of the hobby. It's a nice change of pace from the hustle and bustle of the main hall, and you might even walk away having learned something new. Then there's the painting competition, which remains one of the highlights of the show. The standard on display is consistently high. You'll see beautifully painted miniatures across a range of categories, from single figures to large dioramas, and it's both inspiring and slightly humbling at the same time. It's the kind of display that makes you want to go home, pick up a brush and immediately improve your own painting. What really ties all of this together is the atmosphere. Salute isn't just big, it's vibrant. It's a gathering of people who all share a love for the hobby, whether they're hardcore historical gamers, casual skirmish players, painters, collectors or complete newcomers. It's inclusive, welcoming and genuinely friendly. You'll find yourself chatting to strangers about rule sets, admiring someone's latest purchase or swapping tips on painting techniques. It's the kind of place where conversations start easily and end with, right, I need to go and check out that game you mentioned. And yes, it can be overwhelming, there's no point pretending otherwise. The noise, the crowds, the sheer volume of things to look at. It's a lot to take in, but that's part of the experience. The trick is to embrace it, take your time and not worry about seeing absolutely everything. You simply won't. Nobody does, and that's okay. The goal isn't to tick every box, it's to enjoy the day, discover something new and maybe come away with a few ideas and almost certainly more bags than you arrived with. So if you're heading to Salute 53 for the first time or returning after a long break, expect a show that's bigger, broader and more diverse than ever before. Expect stunning demo games, a vast array of traders, interesting panels and a painting competition that will make you question your life choices. Expect a venue that's huge and well equipped, even if it does come with a few financial realities. And above all, expect a day that celebrates everything that makes tabletop wargaming such a fantastic hobby. And with that, I'll throw it out over to you. Are you planning to attend Salute 53 this year? Is it your first time or are you a seasoned veteran of the show? Let me know in the comments and tell me what you're most looking forward to. And if you see me, I'm a big chap and somewhat hard to miss, please come and say hello. So until then, stay safe, keep gaming and of course, keep rolling high.